Yeah, you know what it is. It's the morning after. Slept on it. Now it's time to talk about it. Coming up in about 10 seconds. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jay here with Unfair Sports, talking OU football, college football, and sports in general. Thanks for tuning in to the morning after reaction to Oklahoma's loss to Kansas State, 41-34 at the crib. Let's dive into that. So, first off, if you're looking for therapy, if you're looking for harsh reactions and craziness, yeah, go here. We did that last night at about 11 o'clock at night, right after the game. Went about 45 minutes of just screaming at the skies. But this video is not going to be that. We're going to take more of a pensive approach here, as well as a lot more optimism than you're going to get than from that instant reaction video. And so let's dive right into this game. But before that, jump in the comments. Let me know how you feel. If you go to the instant reaction video, you'll see a ton of the comments of everybody being upset. I want to know how you feel the day after. Like, do you have optimism here? Do you feel pessimism? O for optimism, P for pessimism, and tell me why. Hop in the comments and let me know what you're feeling, what you're thinking. As a fan, I understand that your favorite teams alter your emotions. I'm more level than that. Not saying you're not, just saying that it doesn't affect me like that. So I'm trying to make sure that I can give you all a brighter insight, hopefully a rainbow at the end of the storm as we talk about this game. So first off, there's a couple of things I want to address. There was two problems in this game. Two. Defense, offensive line play. Period. That's it. I am going to defend Dillon Gabriel in this. Now, is he part of my Heisman conversations anymore? Probably not. But when you look at the numbers that he put up, kind of had a really good game. He threw for 330 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 26 for 39. He had like over a 60% completion percentage in this game. And then Eric Gray ran for 114 yards. Our offensive line was not doing its job. The penalties killed us. 11 penalties for 87 yards, especially because the main penalties came at 4th and 2, 4th and 3, at the most critical moments of the game when we thought we were going to go forward on 4th and get that first down and keep the drives going. We kept getting silly penalties. So, and it didn't start, it wasn't one person. It's everybody on the offensive line had some sort of a jump. Now, that Kansas State defense, they're pretty solid. They've got some special players on that side of the ball. And the crazy thing is in this game, we only gave up 1 sack, and that was at the end of the game. So, as bad as those penalties were with the offensive line and kind of how their play was, they didn't give up a sack. Now, they gave up a lot of hurries. They gave up 1 hurry, technically, and they did get some pressures in. But overall, they weren't horrendous. They just got... the calls they got were horrendous at the time. The timing was terrible. And so I'm here to start off by defending Dillon Gabriel. Parker Thune said this, and I thought this was something really good to point out. Sooner fans, we're spoiled. We're spoiled with amazing quarterback play at all times that has to outplay how bad the defense has traditionally played. This is not the circumstance that we're dealing with here. What we were dealing with is that the quarterback had to play good and do his thing while the defense was also doing its thing. We didn't get the yin and yang. The defense did not help the offense. You'll hear me say that all the time in my videos. The defense has to help the offense has to help the defense. Defense has to get them off the field fast. The offense has to keep them on the field long enough so the defense can rest. The way this offense runs is not going to yield that all the time, but it will as the running game continues to develop. Like I said, Eric Gray got over 114 yards again, and Dillon Gabriel had his 61 yards. Marcus Major had 37. We started to see some action on the run, but we did not call the right plays to keep it going. So that leads into kind of like my second problem that I run into in this whole circumstance with this game. The play calling was a little off whack. It seemed predictable. Run, run, pass. Run, run, pass. Run, run, pass. A few people pointed this out in the live stream last night. You're right. I saw it too. And I was like, okay, we got 2 huge runs. Now we're going to throw it. Why are we doing that? Or we'll get 2 huge runs and we're running a 3rd time and it gets stopped. 2nd down and long, we'll pass it. It's becoming a little predictable. So it's something that we have to do better at mixing it up. And I think Lebby, it feels like Kansas State spent the entire offseason preparing specifically for this game. On top of that, it feels like the ghost of Bill Snyder was on the Oklahoma sideline while the real Bill Snyder was on the Kansas State sideline, just letting them know exactly the tendencies that were going to come. Because then the next piece is defensively, we were not it. This felt like the old regime, and I get everybody's reaction to that. You are 100% right. This felt like the old regime. But I'll say this, after railing in for the first 6 minutes of this video, I think the team will be fine. This is a September L. A lot of talking heads and media people, those that actually study the game, had Kansas State potentially coming out of the Big 12. That loss to Tulane, yeah, they lost. Tulane's still undefeated, though. Kansas State was considered one of the favorites to win the Big 12. And I'm not even mad about it because they're a very tenured team. Adrian Martinez honestly can't pass, but we let him because we played such a soft zone, which I think that's more so a personnel thing that they're trying to get everybody acclimated to playing man-to-man all the time. But they're not a bad team. So it's not like we lost to a reeling Iowa State or a struggling West Virginia. We lost to a really good team, a team that may, if we can win out, we'll face probably again in the Big 12 championship. Or this may be just traditional Kansas State where they end up the season 7-5. And it's like, how did this happen? But Adrian Martinez had a game. As a senior, I said this in my 5 things. The way to beat this team was to make Adrian Martinez beat you with his arm and not his legs. And he threw for 234 yards, which is more yards than he's passed in any game this season. It's actually more than 2 of his games combined. Almost all 3. The first 3 games. He ain't throwing the ball. They're running it like crazy. He also ran for 148 yards and 116. It looks like they were really running everything that they knew that Oklahoma was not going to be able to defend. And what I mean by that is trying to get the thought together. Adrian was scrambling. We had no spy, no proper spy, and he was just picking apart the zone. That's the only problem with zone is when you run a zone, if you get pressure on the quarterback, you got to hit him. And if you watch the way the blocking was for Kansas State, they kept opening a middle hole for him so he could bust out and run. He wasn't just breaking for runs. He was going to the side to where he can make passes. He knew when those moments were that the zone was set that he could not actually run past him. It was bad on the defensive side. And that's something that Brent Venables is going to address. And so to give you all the feeling of optimism, I don't think this is going to be how the defense is going to play for the rest of the season. I think that this was just a game that Kansas State was so overly prepared for that they were going to pull this out. We won't see anybody else like Kansas State for the rest of the season. Actually, correction. The closest one we'll probably see is Oklahoma State. So as long as we can beat Oklahoma State, I think we should be fine the rest of the way. Kansas is going to be tough. Both teams in Kansas are actually really good overall. Y'all didn't want to hear me say that. I told y'all that on my preview show, that Kansas was actually considered a lot better than people think. And right now, they're number 1 in the Big 12. Not saying they're going to stay that way, but my point is they're actually a formidable opponent right now. Let's see what Kansas continues to do. But outside of that, in this game, Dylan Gabriel is not to blame all the way. This is a holistic problem for this team. It was the pass game. It was the not leveraging the run game properly. It was the blocking by the wide receivers and the offensive line. It was the defense not getting, wrapping up or tackling. Now, Deuce Vaughn is really hard to tackle, and I said that he was one person you had to prevent from getting 100 yards rushing. He got 100 yards rushing. He didn't get any touchdowns, but he set up Adrian Martinez every damn drive. Literally every drive. And at a certain point, the defense started turning it up and getting to the point where they started stopping Kansas State, and we started making our rounds back. Halftime 24-17. It looked like, okay, we're going to start going into the next quarter with that. That field goal ate us up. That field goal in the first in the what's that? The third quarter, we had to get that to kick a field goal instead of going for a touchdown. That ate us up. That ate us up. And then we kept getting false start calls right when we were at the point of going forward on fourth. You can't win if you do that, period. And that's the place where we have to get better. Oklahoma put in some fight. They did not quit in this game, which is really good, and actually started to try to mound a comeback, something that you cannot say that we've truly seen in the past besides the Texas game last year. This team fought. They fought hard to the end, and we just didn't come out with it. But remember, this is a new team. This is a new regime. They're still all learning. Give them some grace. Give them some mercy. I do, because I do not think that this is going to last. I think that the TCU game will be a bounce-back game, and I think the Texas game is a game that will go out there and show off. So, thanks for listening to me ramble for the last 12 minutes. This is my morning after report. I do this every game. You'll have one every week. I actually plan on being at the TCU game. If you're there, find me. I'll be in a General Booty shirt. It'll say booty call. Find your boy. I'll be walking around, probably sipping on something, chilling. It's 11 o'clock in the morning, but it's never too early to go out to a football game and kick it. So please hit the like, subscribe button. Share, because sharing is caring. We'll be back later this week. There will be an announcement coming, I believe, on Wednesday that should get Sooner fans excited. The only thing I hate is that we're always saying next year. But just keep in mind, it's college football is a fluid thing. It's always next year that you have to look forward to, while saying in this year, we still have a path to the Big 12 championship. We just got to, keep winning. With that, chop it up with y'all. Probably in about a day or two. Peace.